appeared, both Raditz and Goku were actually caught off guard, even shocked. Raditz of course powered up to Super Saiyan to try and fight them, but the two unknown warriors were able to block Raditz's attacks with ease, it seeming like they're almost on the same level as him. This of course shocked Raditz, but he could tell that they were actually a lot weaker than him. He was confused on why it was that, but Goku then powered up to a Super Saiyan and then told his brother to calm down. He was probably thinking too rationally right now. Raditz realized that the Super Saiyan form was starting to get the better of him, and realizing his mistake, he apologized to his brother. Goku tells him that it's no problem, and tells him to just listen to our future warriors. Eventually, future warriors known as Ranch and Trunks decided to introduce themselves, being the daughter of Raditz and the son of Vegeta. This of course shocks both Goku and Raditz. Raditz actually found out he has a daughter, because Raditz has actually not been in a relationship ever since he became a good guy. Right now. Of course, Launch explains to him that he'll meet a woman known as Launch, and eventually he'll marry her and eventually have a child with her, being her, Launch. But in the future, both her, her uncle and her father would have eventually got the heart virus. Because of Raditz actually spending a lot of time with Goku inside a time chamber, he will actually call on the heart virus, eventually to both him and Goku gain the heart virus. But for Raditz, it actually been a much slower process than it was with Goku. He was actually able to have at least a year when the androids actually came, but when he actually did start to use any levels of Super Saiyan, his heart will always give him incredible pain, and he will not be able to fight at full power. But even Vegeta using Super Saiyan and even Master Super Saiyan, he was still no match for the androids, and eventually he decided to sacrifice himself just to kill one android. But that was just in vain, as the androids had only just lost an arm, and that was only it. As for Raditz, he decided to train the next generation. He decided to train both his daughter and the nephew so they can be more powerful. But eventually, he decided to not transform, knowing that his heart will most likely give out on him. With this saving energy and time he actually used so he can practically make himself live for a little bit longer, he also practically teach both Trunks and Ranch how to master Super Saiyan and even achieve Super Saiyan 2. But even with this, it was still not enough. They both have not still achieved Super Saiyan 2 and master it, just like both Goku and Raditz did. Goku and Raditz would look at each other, with Raditz having an angered look in his eyes. Can't believe that he practically decided to practically let himself down. Not only was he not strong enough to help his brother, but he was not strong enough to even help out his own daughter. This was something that really hurt Raditz deep inside of him. The same pride within him was saying that he failed, not only as a father, but also as a brother to his family. When Raditz did this mistake, Raditz has to probably correct it, and ask Ranch if they have an answer to this threat. Of course, Ranch and Trunks will pull out the hard medicine, and they're just telling that they just need to take that before the androids arrive. Raditz of course will take them to wars, and eventually Goku would have taken them as well. The time to train as they decide to go on to the next 3 years of time skip. At the time, Vegeta was able to achieve Super Saiyan Master it, alongside achieve Super Saiyan 2 thanks to both Raditz and Goku. Vegeta continued to grow stronger and more powerful, but he would not let this get into his head. Vegeta, knowing that they have more powerful opponents in the future than was the androids, he of course would have heard the conversation between Trunks and Ranch, Goku and Raditz, so he would get even more serious about training and continue to increase his power. This would just prove to actually be much more beneficial for the entire group, as Vegeta being much more serious on his training will also beneficial for both him and Raditz. Both Goku and Raditz don't know if they can increase their powers even further, but Raditz maybe has an idea. How about using his tail? Vegeta does not have his, but Raditz still has his from the previous time, so he can actually still use it. And Vegeta of course telling that Raditz that maybe it's a good idea, but he does not know if Raditz can actually control the Great Ape with the Super Saiyan form. So this is incredibly unstable, even though Raditz has mastered all the Super Saiyan forms up until Super Saiyan 3. Of course, Raditz thinks that maybe it's possible, but he's not sure himself. Which does that they should try it a little bit later when they have much more time, since 3 years will not be enough for this type of power. Raditz has to agree with Vegeta and decides to continue to train with him, but eventually the three most powerful Saiyans continue to train. Goku of course will train with them and eventually achieving Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 as well due to his immense potential. With this of course, this actually proves to be a beneficial training for the 4 Saiyans, with Raditz and Goku actually getting stronger a little bit more and continue to increase their powers, with their power continue to grow and more powerful. Eventually when 3 years are up, all the Z-Fighters will prepare, but what they actually knew is that the future warriors will be watching them from afar, with Ranch looking to Trunks and asking him if he's really sure that they should not intervene in this battle, while Trunks will just look back at her, telling that is for the best. If they try to intervene a little bit more, they may cause their own erasure. Even though they have changed the timeline a lot more, they should know the limits that they should change. Even though it's for the best, this alternative timeline, even though it may not be theirs, they should still watch over it and make sure that it really goes well and no one dies. Runs decides and tells Trunks that she is for the same as well, hoping that her father will indeed and her uncle will indeed finish the androids. Trunks looks back at her and tells her that he hopes so as well. He hopes that his father's pride will not get into his battle as well, since he knows that his father may be a lot more prideful, but he knows deep down that Vegeta does care for everyone. He deep down knows that because his father sacrificed himself for everyone, so he knows that his father will do the right thing. And eventually, of course, 17 and 18 will appear alongside Juro and 19. Eventually, the battle will continue on, when the battle between the Z-Virus and the androids actually be incredibly close. But eventually, both 17 and 18 would have killed Juro and 19, surprising them as they actually did not expect that. Both of the androids tell them that they do not want to actually serve on Juro, but they will still kill Goku and Raditz as they were programmed too. Of course, Goku and Raditz did actually hypocritical, but the androids did not care as they eventually released 16. 61 would have rushed against Raditz, but Raditz was easily able to hold down the giant brute, and it seemed that his power was incredibly impressive. Raditz will power up to a Super Saiyan 2 and starts to actually be on the same level as 16. Though it seemed like 16 was actually much more stronger when it comes to physical strength, 17 and 18 were actually much more better than him when it comes to speed, since they were actually much more faster. The only one that rush against 18, it should block and go on skip, but she'll be impressed by the boy's power. But you rush in 17 as they will collide with one another. While back on the lookout, Karen will be pondering something, wondering if she should do that. Of course, people will look at him and ask him what he's thinking about. Karen will just tell him that he thinks about maybe fusing with Piccolo, but instead of the fusion being with Piccolo, he should do the fusion himself. Of course, Popo is kind of worried, but kind of decides to go inside a time chamber, and eventually release Piccolo. Piccolo, of course, is enraged as he looks at Kami, but Kami is just calm and looks back at Piccolo. Piccolo, of course, tries to hurt Kami, but Kami just uses something to practically stop Piccolo in his tracks. Piccolo's, of course, shocked and falls to the ground, feeling that almost all his ki is gone. He's confused and just looks at Kami. Kami explains that he has been trained inside a time chamber to control his mental strength so he can be a lot further than even Goku and Raditz. So now he can even handle the likes of Piccolo with ease. Of course, Piccolo just grunts and asks Kami why he released him. Kami tells him that he does believe that Piccolo can change, but he wouldn't have to change himself first. Piccolo is of course confused with what Kami means, but Kami then forces a fusion between the two of them. Piccolo screams as Kami closes his eyes, eventually becoming one with Piccolo. Piccolo's of course confused, but also feels kind of the weight something on his shoulders being lifted off. Piccolo of course is confused, but eventually spends the next couple of months inside a time chamber, pondering to himself, wondering why Kami did that. Of course, Piccolo did not escape since Kami actually placed a seal so he can keep him there for at least a day at maximum. But of course, Piccolo could tell that the seal was actually starting to break. But something within Piccolo's mind was starting to change as well. He actually started to think to himself, had he actually did the right thing? Eventually, Piccolo realized that he has actually been the evil guy from the very beginning. He realized that his mistakes were really large, and since to practically fix them, he has to train for the next couple of months. And with these months, Piccolo changes himself, becoming a good guy, and eventually deciding to change everything. When he walks out, of course Piccolo is kind of terrified, but he can feel that Piccolo is different. He has the aura of Kami and himself within it, a much calmer and much more positive aura. Piccolo just smiles calmly at Popo and asks him where the others are. Popo will eventually point in the location, and Piccolo will thank him, and eventually flying at incredible speed. Popo will be surprised by the new speed and strength that Piccolo possesses right now. While 17 and Raditz will have an equal battle, instantly Piccolo will appear, kicking 17 away, surprising Raditz as he actually looks at Piccolo, slightly angered but also confused. Piccolo tells Raditz that he will handle it, and he tells him to help out his brother. Raditz will then nod, and eventually were able to help out Goku with handling 16, and eventually the two brothers were able to overpower 16, eventually defeating the androids and eventually able to knock him out. As for 17, he'll actually be having a really tough time with Piccolo due to this Piccolo actually having a couple of months of training within the time chamber and fused with Kami as well. Meanwhile, he'll be much stronger than Ken due to Kami's partly training himself. Since Kami will be much stronger, and Piccolo's actually not been training himself mentally when he was sealed, this will mean that this Piccolo should be much stronger than Canon. But before any of the Z-Fighters can do anything, a Soul Flare will appear, and eventually Cell will be able to throw both 17 and 18 when everyone is distracted, eventually able to become perfect. Of course, Cell will just smile as he was finally perfect, but Gohan will not let him have anything to say as he'll power to Super Saiyan 2 rushing at Cell. Goku was not gonna give up on defeating the androids. If Cell was another threat, he would just defeat him as well. Cell will of course rush at Gohan, and both their powers were actually equal. So it was actually surprised that Gohan was actually equal to him. But little that he knew is that Gohan has been training with Goku for much longer alongside Raditz, and has learned to actually use the power of Super Saiyan 2 much more better than canon, allowing that he will not have any cockiness in this battle. So of course battle with Gohan, and everyone watched the battle. Even 16 actually stopped fighting both Goku and Raditz and just look at the battle. With the battle between the Bio Android and the Hybrid Saiyan being a spectacular thing to see. Both Goku and Raditz will tell Gohan to give it his all and to not give up. Gohan will do exactly that, and eventually continues the battle itself, with their battle being incredibly close. And eventually, Gohan tells Cell that this battle will end right here and now. Cell just laughs, and eventually decides to probably kill 16, surprising Gohan and everyone else. We Cell explains that he does not care about the androids, he only cares about himself, and in the way he will kill both Goku and Raditz. Gohan being enraged, powers up even more. Feeling that Cell has killed innocents for nothing. Even Piccolo feels the rage as well, and Gohan fires a Kamehameha with his one hand, surprising Cell as he fires a Kamehameha as well. Goku then appears behind Gohan and fires a Kamehameha as well. Able to increase the power of the Kamehameha, Cell is shocked by the power he feels. But Raditz decides to join as well with the double Sunday, Piccolo with the Masenko, and the rest of the Z fighters also using Kamehameha in their ult techniques to fire at Cell. Cell tries to use his max power to practically push them back, but that's not enough, as the perfect being is overpowered by the power of all the Z fighters. And eventually, with the final push, they're able to annihilate Cell, leaving him off of the universe. It would then look at Piccolo as he'll be ready to fight him, but Piccolo will just calmly look at them, so that he is not their enemy anymore. Even Goku can actually sense his energy. Raditz of course just walks up to Piccolo and tells him that he forgives them, and he can see that Piccolo has changed. Piccolo just smiles and thanks to Raditz, but Raditz punches Piccolo and starts making him cough off saliva as Piccolo just looks at him with a smile, asking him if that was for the special being canon. Raditz just chuckles and smiles and tells him that indeed it was, but he has forgiven him fully. But he would definitely not go easy on him on training. Piccolo just chuckles and sweats a little bit and tells him that he understands that. As for both Ronch and Trunks, they'll smile, happy to see that everyone is able to practically survive. For Ronch and Trunks, they've been trained by Goku and Raditz from the present so they can have Super Saiyan 2 and master it. With this power, they're easily able to defeat their own androids and eventually defeat Cell as well, leading to a peaceful time in the future and a peaceful time in the present timeline for the next 7 years. But that is the end for this timeline. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you at the next one. Sayonara everyone. See you next time.